So we have been listening in to federal authorities and other law enforcement agencies there in Los Angeles announced the arrest of 5 people that they believe are connected to the death of Matthew Perry from ketamine. ABC's Alex Stone joins us there. He's there in Los Angeles. And we're also joined by ABC News legal contributor and trial attorney Brian Buckmeyer. And guys, before we talk, we want to let our audience know that they believe that the arrest, contains 2 medical doctors, a live-in assistant, a woman known as the ketamine queen, and also a broker. Authorities said the defendants were well aware of the dangers that it posed to Matthew Perry, and they also talked about how he struggled with addiction in the past, and says that Perry fell back into addiction and the defendants took advantage of him. So, Alex, I want to start with you. What do you make of what we've learned from this press conference here?
Well, DeMarco, this was not just a drug dealer on the streets. Yeah, there was a drug dealer on the streets, or a couple of them included in this, but they are alleging in this indictment, and I've been going through it while they've been speaking, and it's many, many pages here, that they claim that this was a broad criminal network, a conspiracy responsible for distributing, they say, large amounts of ketamine to Perry and others that not only involved drug dealers, but 2 medical doctors, 2 doctors who were supposed to do no harm, that were allegedly making money, selling it to the street-level dealers, who were then selling a lot of this stuff, about 20 vials over 2 months, $55,000 in cash to Matthew Perry, a vial going for $2,000 they were charging him that cost the doctor $12 that they claimed that they were selling to Perry, and he eventually died on.
All right, Brian, let's bring you in. He talked about it. Alex talked about how it led to the discovery of a possible underground criminal network. So what do you make of the fact that they said defendants tried to actually cover up everything, including text messages in this case?
Yeah, in many cases, sometimes you say it's not just the crime, but it's the cover-up, and I think here both are horrendous. To Alex's point, I'm reading the indictment as well. I'm about 17 of 34 pages in, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see someone somewhat similar to myself. I have a Juris Doctorate. I don't have a medical doctorate, but someone who went to school to help people. And from what I'm reading and what I'm hearing in the presser, they looked at Matthew Perry as a piggy bank, someone who was very publicly in the throngs of an addiction, that even from what I'm reading in the indictment, that they were aware that the person who was purchasing for Perry wanted to slow down at some point, but they kept coming back and saying, hey, are you sure? Like, I'm going to be out of town for the weekend. I want to just make sure you're topped off a bit in case you don't get me. And also saying, hey, I can get you at a certain price, but also what about a tip just to make sure that everyone's happy? This seemed like everyone involved wanted to get a little bit more money out of Matthew Perry to provide him with this poison that he understood was harming him, but couldn't turn away from. And so I think having all of that recorded, not just, hey, pick up a vial here and let's go, but also just the activeness of trying to get more money out of him and then trying to delete it afterwards is going to be extremely detrimental to any kind of negotiating or any kind of plea deal or trial that we're about to see in these cases.
Brian, what do you make of the similarities of the Michael Jackson case? I mean, we got a doctor allegedly involved, 2 doctors now, and they also mentioned that the patient must be monitored, of course, closely when ketamine is being administered. You think about both cases, even though they're drastically different, but they also have similarities.
Yeah, so they definitely have a lot of similarities. And again, going back to the indictment, I believe one of the co-conspirators, Chavez, that was mentioned in this presser, is actually being accused of being there where the home health aide, showing how to administer the ketamine and walking them through the process and doing it with them to ensure that it's done properly and safely. Of course, that didn't happen on the day in question that Matthew Perry lost his life. But yes, there are similarities. But I think it's different in the sense of, at least from my understanding of Conrad Murray, that was the administration of drugs that he being Michael Jackson, was supposed to get, but it was done in a manslaughter type of way. That's why he's charged with involuntary manslaughter. It was done in a negligent and culpable way. Here, unlike Conrad Murray, who might arguably be trying to help Michael Jackson, but did it in a very bad or negligent way, these are people that are looking at Matthew Perry from the allegations I'm reading as, how do I get more money out of this addict? I'm supposed to be here to help this person, and there seems to be no resemblance of an attempt to do that or even a thought to do that. It's simply, how do I get an upcharge, to Alex said, of $2,000 for a vial would only cost me $12. There was no Hippocratic oath. There was no attempt to help here, just attempt to get a cash day.
one thing for certain. The chief of Los Angeles Police is saying he's pleased to know that these individuals, even though they haven't been found guilty, are off the streets there. Alex Stone and Brian Buckmeyer, thanks to the both of you. Of course, we'll be talking with you throughout the day for the latest on this story.